Thanks for joining us once again in transforming the world through reflections. Today, we are going to have a great conversation because with me today is a dear friend, Julio Hanson, who brings so much richness, deliciousness to this table. He's an educator and an artist. And so we're going to just talk about how his skills are essential to this healing process that needs to happen at the local and global level. So I think we should just jump in.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good, but can I just say that word deliciousness? I'm going to use that in something else. Maybe I'll
Okay.
put that in my bio,
Okay.
my resume.
Yes.
Deliciousness.
Because it's the truth.
Thank you. I'll take it. Yeah, I like it.
how, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, Melissa. I'm so happy to be here right now, to be with you, and we have so much to talk about.
We do. We do. And this amount of time wouldn't even touch the surface, but we're going to go as far as we can.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you never know. We may have future times to keep going deeply into this.
Hey, we'll go as far as the television rating will take us. So how about
Right
that?
on. I like
That's right.
that.
We'll do that.
I like that. So, okay, so here we are in this so-called post-pandemic, not quite post-pandemic. We go forward, we go backward,
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
My thought is you have to live every day like it's your last, and you have to love every day like you've never loved before. I just have been living like that since COVID. It's funny because I was thinking about all the different things that I've been doing during the time of COVID, and it's been a lot.
Yes.
And I kind of think, dang, Julio, you need to slow down. But then again, all those things brought me life
Mm-hmm.
when so much was going on during COVID.
Yes.
So much other stuff was happening.
Yes.
So my friends I'd lost. And I started thinking, you know what? I need to live right now, because if I don't live right now, then what's the point? We have to live.
Exactly.
And so that's what I
Exactly.
take away from COVID. So many people have had some hard times, and my heart goes out to those people. But, if I had one word to tell people right now, is that just live.
Live.
Mhm.
Live. And
Yeah.
as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about something that resonates with me quite often. When we were early in this pandemic experience, the confusion, the constant adjustment, and all the grieving that was going on, uh, led to a lot of reflection. This is how this podcast started. It was not even meant to be a podcast, and it just emerged as a way of reflecting on what was happening, what can be done, why it needs to be done, how long it's been needing to be, in progress. And so, to your point about how important it is to remember to live,
Yeah.
I've been really focused on how everything that's been happening is inviting us to amplify our gifts.
Mm.
It's urgent.
Yeah.
It's urgent.
Mhm.
If there was ever a time to be really present to that, it's now.
That reminds me, when you say it's urgent, it reminds me of a lady, Miss Anna, who used to volunteer at my elementary school to help the children. And she used to tell me all the time, I was a teacher
Mm-hmm.
at the time, and she would say, Mr. Hanson, I was Mr. Hanson at that time. She said, Mr. Hanson, it's a catastrophe. It's a catastrophe that these kids cannot read.
Mm.
And I said, thank you, Miss Anna. Mr. Hanson, next day, it's a catastrophe that they can't add. It's a catastrophe. I'm like, thank you, Miss Anna. Mr. Hanson, third day. I mean, just every day. It's a catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
And she's 81 years old, beautiful white lady who you could tell was a bombshell when she was, our age. And
In her youth.
in her youth,
Because we are in our youth.
well,
Yeah.
hey, I don't know about you, but I'm 23 in my head times 2. Times whatever.
Yeah.
But she would always tell me that, and I never understood that until now. I would tell her, that's why I'm here. I'm a teacher. I'm here to help the students, learn. But I didn't understand what she meant by it's a catastrophe.
Mm.
She meant that it's urgent that we do something now. And if we don't do something now, 10 years from now, and that was 1998. So
Wow.
we're looking 20 years ago now.
Wow.
Like, dang, it is a catastrophe.
It is.
It is.
It is.
She was right.
It is.
Bless her heart, she's gone. And but I'll never forget that about her, Miss Anna and James. Yeah.
These are the moments that really reconnect us with wisdom we've heard, early in life. It's as if it takes on new meaning now. I hear you. I can relate. I can relate completely. Right now I'm hearing some of what my grandmother would say in her West Indian wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't want to listen back then.
Well,
we didn't want to listen. But listen, if you're looking at this right now, just listen.
Exactly.
You listen, and 20 years from now, you'll be like, dang, I'm glad I listened.
She used to say, when you don't hear, you feel. Well, are we feeling or what?
We are feeling for real.
Yes.
For real.
Yes. Yes. All this crisis is packed with gifts. It's just not a delightful package, but a lot of opportunity to learn.
Yes.
And speaking of learning, I think this is a good opportunity to go into your life as an educator, Dr. Julio Hanson. I feel so proud to say that.
I'm proud of that too. It was just something that I wanted to do. My father, bless his heart, the greatest man that walked the face of the earth after Jesus Christ. He was such a great man who tried to get his doctorate, but he had MS, multiple sclerosis, and he never complained. And that's the thing I remember about him, is that he was just a beautiful man that never complained, even when he was bedridden. And 1 year into his doctorate, he had to stop because it became, multiple sclerosis is it's a hard one, right?
It sure is.
For some people, it's even harder than others.
Yes.
So I wanted to do that because, in part for him. So when I did it, I said, I completed what he was not able to complete, right? The second reason I wanted to do it was because I wanted to grow and I wanted to learn. I wanted to, like you said, learn. I wanted to be better. And I had this yearning for being better, for being more than I am right now. So I went back to school and paid 6 digits to get a doctoral degree.
Life in the U.S.
Yeah, life in the U.S. But it was the best experience of my life.
Investment.
Yeah, it was the best investment. I'm trying to get my ROI, my return on investment on it. So I'm looking at that right now, because I don't want to be thinking about the loan. I want to be thinking about how, I paid it off, whatever. Yes. But it's the best investment when you go and do something that you feel your heart leads you to do. And that's what, it took me years to get there. But once I did it, I was like, wow, this was the best investment to my spiritual, to my emotional, to my mental, to my physical, to my social well-being.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
beautiful. And to connect it with your father's experience, this completion, this particular one, what a beautiful way to honor our ancestors.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he came from a long line of teachers, number one. My mother's she also worked in the education system, in the school system.
Like my mom.
Yeah. Who we're going to talk about later, right?
Yes.
And yeah, so they both, were educators. And we honor our ancestors by doing just that, by not only learning, but passing on the torch, and by teaching those that come after us.
Exactly.
Things that they wouldn't know unless we tell them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And right now, because long-standing social injustice is more visible, not new, just more visible. This is the time when we really need to put our energy into letting, current and future generations be aware.
Yeah.
Of their history in depth.
Yeah.
As opposed to, what systemic oppression has prescribed. You're only going to find this out, and you're not even going to get it accurately because it's inconvenient. As an educator, you play a role in dismantling all the lies that showed up in textbooks and that didn't show up.
Right, right.
You know.
I think just by being right now, I'm a principal of. I guess we can say names and everything on this, right? Okay,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
So I am the principal, no,
Of Loyola
a
Village.
Loyola Village Fine and Performing Arts Magnet, which is located in Los Angeles and Westchester, California. And as the principal, the mere fact that they see me as a principal, many of these children, of which 64% are African American, and about 28% are Latino, and then we have other white and Asian also students. The mere fact of them seeing me and how I carry myself correct some of the systemic racist practices that they might have seen or they might see still, right?
Yes.
So when they see someone like me, they can say, well, I remember my principal was like this and he held himself like this. So I don't always get it right, but I do strive to show them an example of what it means to be a human, what it means to love, what it means to live, and what it means to be a person of value, right? So so that's so important what you said about teaching them that something that they probably wouldn't hear.
Exactly. Thank you for that. We don't, by we I mean the adults of the world, don't always realize.
You're an adult? I'm not an adult yet. No, I'm just kidding. I'm more than an adult.
we don't always realize how the slightest thing we do can have an impact on a child. They're watching.
You're so right.
They're watching.
Yeah.
So for you to describe the importance of being mindful of the way you carry yourself on campus, the way you speak, I mean, all of that is information.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. And so it also offers alternatives for children who may be living in an environment that's not necessarily a healthy environment. They get to see an alternative.
Right.
Because as a child, unless you see an alternative, you may assume, in our very concrete way of absorbing the world as a child, that everything is exactly the way it is in my immediate environment. I'm thinking of my work with children in therapy many years ago. I can't tell you how frequently it happened that we would have conversations about when they noticed a difference.
Right.
That their immediate environment was not the end all be all, in the sense that there are other ways of moving in the world.
And that all starts from the moment that they see you. Because if they see you and you greet them with a smile, anyone for that matter, they feel whether you love them or not. And from the moment you open your mouth, when you open your mouth, that confirms whatever you say can confirm or can nullify what your actions did.
Exactly.
So I tell teachers all the time, I say, we have to get to know who our students are. We have to get to know who people are.
Yeah.
I say, take the time. Don't worry the first couple of days about trying to crack open a book, because if you don't know who they are, you don't know what makes them tick, then you're going to be going down a long, winding road.
Relationship is first.
It's about relationships.
Relationship is first. And my mom, as a teacher, she always talked about this. And to this day, former students who are now adults with their own children, they reach out to her because they remember my mom worked so closely with parents, very closely with parents, because she really valued the fact that when you're working with a child, you're working with the adults in that child's life.
Yeah.
So she really put a lot of energy into, let's make this a partnership.
Right.
This is not about scolding and lecturing a parent. They bring to the table what they know until they know something new.
Right.
So for her, it was very much about a collaborative experience with parents. And I know that it's had a powerful influence in the way I do my work. and just listening to you, um, there's resonance. There's resonance.
Yeah. It's resonating.
Yes.
It's resonating.
Yes. So given what's happening right now, and I don't mean only as it relates to uh, the health crisis, but how the health crisis showed old stuff, inequities in access to resources, all these things that have been going on for generations.
Mhm.
What else would you say about how education can, promote a shift, in this equity discourse, the inclusion, all of this?
Well, I think first of all, we have to understand the power of education and how it can do just what we were talking about, how it can either build our students up or it can tear them down,
Right.
right? It can either bring them in or it
Right.
can kick them out.
Yeah.
It can either give them access or it can shut them out, right? So I think that education in itself has to change to the point where we see students first, we see feelings first,
Mm-hmm.
we see life first, we see relationship first. Those things have to come first before we see numbers and points
Yes.
and scores.
Yes.
I mean, all that's important because that's the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree that's the real world. And I'm not against testing. A lot of people are just against testing. I'm not against testing at all. I'm against it being used to describe the whole child. But I am for education being used to and tailored to the needs of our students in our classrooms, to the needs of our children in our homes, to the needs of our children on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to have a high school degree or a college degree to be successful, but we have to give them access.
Yes.
Give them access.
Yes.
Because if you don't give them access and you shut them out, then it's like it's a double losing or it's an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that happened during the pandemic, especially the early part of it, where people were like, well, okay, it's all virtual. Yes, parents are struggling to wear multiple hats, their professional hats, and then now they're being their teacher's assistant. And
parents
all of
during
that.
during COVID,
Woo!
parents were like, "Whoa, this is what's been happening.
Oh my gosh.
This is what class and teaching is like."
Right? And
Yeah.
and it was quite a struggle. And
Mhm.
it shed light on something really important. Not all children had access to technology at home.
Yeah.
So it really showed the inequities, as we were talking about a moment ago, the inequities. So a lot of people complain, oh, this virtual thing is exhausting. And yes, it can be. Some people didn't even have it to be exhausted.
Yeah.
And it affected the educational system.
Yeah. But it was a growth curve, though.
It sure
was a
was.
growth spurt, rather,
Mm-hmm.
for people. I always thought that, too, because I used Zoom before Zoom was used
Yeah.
for all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I always thought, wow, I wonder if we would ever teach on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is that's one of the good things that happened, is that we realized how powerful we can use technology, how powerful technology is
Yes.
for reaching students in different ways.
Yes.
So
Yes.
mhm.
Speaking of which, there's so much to unpack about the work you're doing educationally. Your writing, your creative writing workshops, not only with children but with teachers.
Mhm.
And what are your thoughts on how to merge this need for technology or new ways of using technology with these experiences you've had teaching creative writing? We're getting into the artist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me put my new hat on. Hold on 1 second.
The educator who
Here we
is
go.
also an artist.
Yeah, I love it, though. I've finally found how to let my education spur my art and let my art encourage my education, and vice versa. I feel that, I mean, there's nothing that takes the place of being in person with somebody.
Absolutely.
Okay, I will say that.
I can vouch for
There's
that.
nothing that takes the place of being in person.
Yes.
However, when you have something like a technology platform where you can meet somebody in Brazil
Right?
or meet somebody in Mexico
Yes.
or in France.
Yes.
During the year last year, I worked with a group called Language Salad Kids. Um, Dodo is his name, Rodolfo from Brazil. He has a few kids in Brazil that he put online, and then I had a few kids from Mexico, and I had a few of my students, and they had a conversation. It was in English and Portuguese and Spanish,
Beautiful.
and it was a little difficult because some of my kids didn't speak any of those languages except for English, but they were exposed to other students in other countries.
Again, exposure to
Yeah,
alternative.
they,
Right?
they were exposed to these kids
Mm-hmm.
that are trying to learn English and trying to communicate with them in English. And it was just a most amazing experience. And hopefully we get a chance to do it again this coming year. And hopefully I can connect with some kids in Panama this coming year as well, because that's something in the works with a friend of mine named Juan Francisco over in Panama, where we can connect our students to other countries and other schools and other students in such an easier way.
Yes.
It used to be like, you had to go to a certain college, a certain place to have your students dialogue with other students.
Right.
But now it's so easy. You can do it at home. You can do it at school, your office,
Yeah.
on the playground,
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
Just get your iPad and you're connected, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
What a beautiful
yeah,
project. And
yeah,
it again, it brings to the table all these different possibilities. And because you speak multiple languages, you can support
hmm
your students in the process of,
yeah,
of learning something new by connecting with someone who is not in this country,
right, right.
and broaden their horizons, which is what this urgent work calls for,
hmm
broadening the horizons of our children, of our youth.
Right. And I don't know what spurred me on in the beginning to want to learn languages, but there was something. There was some I was exposed to. I think it was my parents giving me records or books or something in other languages, and not knowing the effect that it would have on me
Yeah.
to read a book in French
Yes.
at 5 years, 6 or 7 years old, or get a dictionary that has like 20 different languages in it.
Hmm.
And those things affected me
Yeah.
because I was exposed to it,
Yeah.
So yeah.
And in childhood, these things are so much more accessible,
hmm
right? And being a singer, you have that ear. So language development.
hmm
Ooh,
Yeah.
you were set.
I was set with something. You know, I don't know what it was, but I was set all right. Yeah.
Oh, let's talk more about your writing.
Okay.
It's essential that we talk about your your play, which I recently had the privilege to experience. I know it was a reading of it,
hmm
and I know that you explained that it's still a work in progress.
hmm
Negra. Ooh, it was so moving. It was so moving, and I can say on a personal level because I am a woman from Panama.
hmm
I was born and raised there.
hmm
And so you captured so many elements that I remember experiencing and or hearing about, those parts of the story that happened, you know, uh, before I was born, but that I've learned about not
Yeah.
only through books, but definitely family stories and
Right.
all,
Yeah.
it was brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm thankful that you're doing it because to me it represents yet another way of educating
Mhm.
through the arts,
Right. Right.
something
Yeah.
that both of us are passionate about,
Yeah.
the arts,
Yes.
and how powerful the arts can be to address you know all of our human experiences,
hmm
all of them. So I'm curious to hear more about your
Wow.
writing process.
Negra. They
Yes.
call me Negra.
Ay,
So
ay, ay.
anyway, so I'm privileged to be a member of the Roby Theater Company in
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles. And they didn't give they award they what's the word?
Commissioned.
I received a commission
Mm-hmm.
from the Roby Theater Company to write a play. And I said I wanted to write this musical. And this musical became bigger than life itself. I wanted to write something that meant something to me, and I wanted to write something that people could connect with. The Roby Theater Company they do most of their work, if not all of their work, is something that you can learn from, and
Mm-hmm.
it's historical.
Yes.
So I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this a historical thing. I just wanted to make a musical. But
Mm-hmm.
as I started learning about some of the history of Panama
Mm-hmm.
and remembering some of the things my grandmother would say and my mother would say
Mm-hmm.
or different people would tell me, I
Mm-hmm.
said, this has to be part of what I write.
You could hear it in the
Yeah.
dialogue. Oh.
Yeah. So it just became a larger than life thing. So I was in their playwright program as part of the commission. I've been a member with them for like 13 or 14 years
Mm-hmm.
as an actor. And I've taken their advanced scene study program. I've taken their playwright program. I've been a sound designer for a couple of plays there. I've been a music director for one of the plays there as well. And then this was a chance to kind of come full circle
Yes.
and write this musical.
Yes.
And thank you for saying it was brilliant because, it's hard when you write something and you look back and you say, oh, it wasn't as grand as in my head, but I still see the promise of it.
Mm-hmm.
I still see the promise. And when I hear people like yourself that say it was brilliant, or I hear somebody say that it was amazing, or this is amazing work you're doing, it keeps me going.
Good.
It's
Good.
not just an easy thing to sit down and write. People think that the Lin-Manuel sit down, they just write. But I know Lin, he must have had moments. He had to have moments where he's like, is this really going to work?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm.
Lin-Manuel, I want to know what you're thinking. So, no, but I just wonder what, I have a friend of mine who wrote a play called Grace, the musical,
Mm-hmm.
in Washington, D.C., Noel Williams Jr., and he really gave me an insight because his play opened about 4 or 5 months ago, I think it was.
Okay.
And I had a chance to go see it and be with him during the opening, and I saw it like firsthand. I was like, this is what it feels like to see your play come to life on stage and see people love it and see people enjoy it and see it sing it. I was like, okay, I can do this. And that's what carried me.
It
Yeah.
gave you that.
That carried me the last 6 months of this commission to really
Mm-hmm.
push this out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I have to tell you, and I'm not sure if you remember me saying this, but during the reading, I sometimes watched you
Oh God.
listening.
I think everybody's
And
watching
and
me.
I could see you singing, and I thought to myself, I don't know if I can put into words what it must be like to hear people speak the words you wrote.
Yeah.
And after all the work, the love that went into the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to let go at some point. I mean, you probably saw me singing, but you may have seen me going like this,
Mm-hmm.
counting and,
Mm-hmm.
trying to go like this and be like, trying to direct from the audience. But I thought it would be more weird at first,
Uh-huh.
like hearing people say the words that I wrote.
Yes.
But when they started putting their own personality to it, you understand, okay, let me just let go.
Uh-huh.
It's not me anymore. It's now it's the actor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it became less weird when I let go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there a metaphor here for life?
Hey, message. It might be once you let go, then it just becomes a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Going with the flow.
Yeah.
Oh, that flow, that creative zone.
Right. It's a
Freedom.
learning process, though.
Freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. It was freeing, all right.
Well, and back to something that we got into earlier, this urgent need to amplify our gifts.
Mm-hmm.
hopefully connects us with our freedom
Mm-hmm.
to be ourselves fully.
Yeah.
Be in the flow.
Yeah.
The world needs it.
Yeah, I mean, they kept telling me, like, especially my dramaturg and my director, Daphne C. Cray, she kept telling me, "Hey, it's okay. You've done good work. Let it go, let it go, let it go." And I'm like,
Uh-huh,
"No,
uh-huh.
but," and she's like, "No." And so yeah,
Ah,
it's free. It's freedom for sure. It's
right.
freedom. Mm-hmm.
Well, here in this podcast, we frequently talk about art and activism.
Mm.
You're in it. Some people refer to it as artivism. Talk to me.
Wow, that's a great segue into my doctoral thesis, which
Mm-hmm.
was The Power of Artistic Activism.
Tell it.
It is published on ProQuest database. You can all go check it out. No. But yeah, so I studied that as a doctoral student, and I graduated from Pepperdine University um, in the doctoral in education. And the power of artistic activism, I had a chance to talk to so many different artists
Mm-hmm.
that use their art just for that. They use their art to change the world. They use their art to reflect what's happening in society.
Ooh,
And it's
Nina
so,
Simone right there.
yeah, it's just like, um, it's such a powerful thing how some people use dance. One of the people that I interviewed, I can't say people's names, but one of the people that I interviewed, she did say that dance gave this person a space to see themselves. And so this one individual was suicidal, right? And so this individual saw themselves on stage, which saved their life. So when you think about that, you're like, wow. If you
Wow.
let somebody just see themselves on stage through
Mhm.
dance, through singing, through movement, through acting,
Mhm.
you can save someone's life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just an amazing thing. It was, like I said, it was one of the best experiences of my life to get my doctoral degree because I learned so much about how other people are doing it, being artivists,
Yes.
and how whatever I do now,
Mhm.
I want it to have some type of power that bring people in. It's
Mhm.
not going to always be historical or it's going to be educational, but it's going to be either fun, where you make people laugh
Mhm.
in times of sorrow,
Yeah.
or you make people think in times of doubt or in times of confusion. You clarify things or whatever it is. I want whatever I do to have some purpose.
All of that
Mm-hmm.
was evident in Negra.
Thank you. Thank you.
All of it. Because there was laughter,
Yeah.
even though the subject matter also included some painful narratives
Yes. Yeah.
about identity,
Right.
embracing one's identity, and it was beautifully done.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
beautifully done. I look forward to, the next iteration of this writing.
yeah, I have so many things that I'd like to do with it right now. I'm just I'm letting it breathe a little bit. I'm working with some people in New York, or by some Latine people in New
Mm-hmm.
York,
Mm-hmm.
who are just wonderful Latine people
Beautiful.
of all the whole spectrum of gender, of sexuality, of economic status, of artistry. There's just so many great people out there, here in LA too. But
That right there is a statement that speaks to diversity and inclusion as an asset. It's an
yes,
asset.
mm-hmm.
It's an asset. And, you know, because more places of employment are under the scrutiny of the world,
Yeah,
they need to now go beyond just the token diversity. They need to really walk the inclusion walk.
yeah,
you know.
Not just now because it's hot.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
I mean, a lot of people got jobs right now, but I'm hoping that these people keep their jobs,
right?
Because it's hot, and when it's not, then you drop. You know, I don't want that to happen.
No. Let it be. Let it be the
part of the thread,
fabric.
The fabric, yes.
Well, we were on the same page. Let it be, you know, an essential part of the fabric, the values of the workplace.
Right.
You know, need to be, you know, fueled by this, the understanding of how diversity and inclusion are an asset.
Yeah.
Are an asset.
Well, let me tell you right quick, because on that point, my daughters, and I got to put this plug in.
Yes, please do.
So one of my daughters, Marilei, she works at Murad, and she was part of a diversity, equity, and inclusion group.
Yes.
And she come to me and tell me, yeah, we're trying this, we're trying that. I just feel so proud of her that she's 20 something. I guess I say her age. She's 27. I'm 23. But she's doing things that I wasn't doing at that time.
Right.
You know, my other daughter, Natalia, she's also has her master's degree in human resources, and she also has a specialty in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she's working for House Makeup, which is Lady Gaga's makeup company. But they're doing some things. These young people are doing some things that we weren't doing.
Yes.
And I'm just so proud of them right now.
Yes.
That they are independent women and independent men out there just doing your thing. I know a lot of young men too that are doing their thing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of them.
I am too. And you know, early in the pandemic, I know they were out there speaking up.
Yes.
They were out there speaking up during these protests, and and they represent youth really well, because you know, young people are questioning. We need to promote an appreciation for questioning and for, you know, addressing issues respectfully. And you know, they represent well. I'm so proud.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
They come by this naturally.
Yes.
You know, and so this work is so nuanced. So your life as an educator, your life as an activist, artivist, you know, these are the things that I'm learning more and more are necessary for the healing process. I work with artists every day of my life, and it's been such a rich experience to learn from not only students but also faculty more ways of going deeply into these topics that need attention in new ways through the arts.
Yes, yeah.
Through the arts. Yeah. I have this bias that it's impossible to learn about pain and healing without the arts.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I heard you say the words of Nina Simone. You know, the arts reflect what's happening.
Yeah.
In the world.
It is.
It's the truth. You know, because the two of us are from Panama, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this other piece up. Let me share with the audience that we met when we were at UCLA as undergrads.
Right, right.
We met because you were working at the Office
International
Students and Scholars. And the dean of that office, Carol Saltzman, at the time.
Love her.
Right?
Yeah. And Alan Saltzman.
She encouraged you, being Panamanian,
right,
to reach out to all the Panamanian students on campus, whether that office, I know, whether that office was already connected with them or not.
Right.
That's how you and I met. Why? Because at the time, our country was in turmoil. Those were the Noriega days.
Yeah.
And the invasion.
Right.
So fast forward to how our friendship developed as a result of that moment of connection. That office was so much about the power of the arts in bringing community together, in getting to learn more about each other and ourselves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Healing ingredients.
Right.
So with that in mind, and looking back at your journey to the present moment, and I'm doing the same, uh, including all these amazing things you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Our country is in grave crisis right now as we
Right.
speak.
As we speak.
As we speak.
It's
And
yeah.
thankfully, because the current generation, just like here in the U.S., is very connected to the
In
power of
tune.
questioning,
Right.
and they're in tune.
Right.
Old problems stand a chance to be addressed in new ways.
Mm-hmm.
Some old ways too are going on. Watch international news and you'll see.
Right.
But I would love to hear your take on how the arts and education could support the healing needed in our country right now, given what's happening right now, which is a manifestation of problems that have been happening for generations. I was going to say decades, generations and generations.
Yeah.
So right now I'm thinking of my grandma and how in her West Indian way she would say, we need to put a stoppage to this. That's what seems to be going on right now. A stoppage.
That sounds so Caribbean.
So Caribbean. Her words come out of my mouth every day. Yeah. So people are engaging in a way over there that speaks to put a stoppage to this.
Yeah.
So,
literally.
Literally. I mean,
they're stopping traffic.
Stopping food distribution. I mean, all kinds of things.
They're tired. People are tired.
Yeah. People are tired. And communities that have been marginalized worldwide have been speaking loudly, perhaps inspiring activism at local levels everywhere in the world. It's happening. Right. So, as an educator, as an artist who knows the power of those two things in healing, what do you see possible in Panama through education and the arts?
I see. It's funny because I was just looking at some videos today that really saddened me of what I saw. I didn't realize what was actually, I haven't been to Panama in about 6 years. And it's funny because my daughters were there last week and they sent me a video of the stoppage on the street.
A lot of it,
right? So they came back here and they said the next day after that, it got worse. And so today I saw a video of what that worse looked like. And it looks like Armageddon. Cars being turned over, cars being looted, explosions and fires, and people's faces being hit and bloated because they've been punched or hit or whatever.
Yes.
And I won't speak on the inner part of it because I'm not the expert on it. What I have heard is that there's a lot that needs to be done that has to focus on the people that are in power. We have to focus on what are they doing for the people of Panama.
Yes.
And that's a worldwide problem. What are we doing for people that are really having a hard time right now?
Exactly.
People are really having a hard time in Panama. They're really having a hard time around the world. And what are we doing? Are we providing a space for those people to be heard? Are we providing assurance that they are being taken care of? Or are we just thinking that it's okay?
Right.
I just sound like James Baldwin right now.
and you played him. You played him in this. I
played James Baldwin in a heated discussion with Dolby Theater last month.
The script that was all about.
He's still with me.
What would they say now?
What would they say? Well, I just need a cigarette in my mouth. See what I'm trying to say. No, let me shake it right quick. No, but on a serious note, we need to figure out how to take care of our people and hold our people.
Yes.
In Panama, they need to feel held because they're tired.
Mm-hmm.
They see that money is flowing in Panama, and they see it.
Mm-hmm.
They see it. Panama is a beautiful country with lots of different richness in many different ways. And when you see that in front of you, flaunted in front of you, and you can't even buy milk or bread or butter, or it's hard for you to buy those things.
Right.
You get
Especially
tired.
right now.
You get tired.
Yes.
Gas. What is going on with gas right now? I mean, goodness gracious. It's
Yeah.
taken. It costs me $100 plus every time I fill my little car up.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it either, but you got to talk about it because
It's the truth.
I'm gonna have to fill up on the way back home.
It's
So back to LA,
Yes.
to the other country. But I cannot imagine in Panama,
Yeah.
how much is it costing over there to fill up I mean, it's probably costing the same, but for them over there, I'm sure it's like, this is my whole week's salary.
Exactly. It's crazy. I was there 2 months ago, and protests were going on about inflation and gas prices.
Right.
And
right.
so in the last couple of months, the heat increased, and so that's where we are right now.
Yeah. It's getting hot.
Yeah.
Prices are getting higher.
Yeah, it's
It's like,
the critical mass right now.
exactly.
So may education continue to support people in protesting in a well-informed way.
Yes. Yeah.
What could the arts do?
I think we just need to use it as, number one, as a place to give people a space to see themselves either on stage,
Mm-hmm.
for someone to say, this is what I see and this is what I feel, and I feel you people, my people.
Mm-hmm.
Some people need that. Some people need to see themselves on stage.
Yes.
Some people need a space to express themselves on stage.
Yes.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yes.
Allow me that space to express myself.
Yes.
Some people need the truth to be revealed on stage. And if we're not allowing these things, art, to do these things for people, then what are we, then we're shutting down our connection to the community. We're shutting them down.
Yes.
And they're going to explode, which is what's happening right now in Panama.
Right now, and artists over there are speaking up.
They are speaking up.
They're
I saw an
speaking
artist
up.
today. He was like, and I don't want to say his name wrong, but he's pretty famous over there. Bill I think his name.
Mm-hmm.
But he was saying, he's like, we need to stop focusing on the people blocking the streets. We need to focus on the people in power and what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a repeat of what happened back in Noriega in the days of the dictadura,
Mm-hmm.
of the
Dictatorship.
Gosh, couldn't think of the word.
Mhm.
Of the dictatorship,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I was like, wow,
I have
he's
heard
comparing this to a dictatorship.
I have heard songs on social media created by artists in Panama talking about this.
Mhm.
Exactly what you just shared.
Yeah,
So again, education and the arts. Education and the arts.
yeah,
They go hand in hand.
yes,
They go hand in hand.
yes.
And I'm thankful that you are squeezing the juices out of them.
I think I'm just trying to do what I can.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say I'm the trooper that ride or die, jumping all over the place, and that type of person. But I am an expressive person that I like to show my thoughts in a way that people can see and understand it.
Yes.
And I hope that Negra was one of those things,
Absolutely.
that people were able to see,
Yes.
that it's about love. It's about love, and it's about respect. That's what my musical is about. It's about love and respect.
And respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect each other and love each other. You don't
Yes.
respect somebody and you don't love somebody, then it's like, okay,
Those are the ingredients of healing.
right.
Didn't I say this was going to be about deliciousness?
Oh, yeah.
Here it is. Here it is.
Deliciousness.
I mean, yes, love and respect. Those are
Yeah,
delicious
man.
ingredients
Yes.
to sustain us.
That is so true.
All right, Julio, we could keep going. I would like to invite you to share with our audience where they can learn more about you, the things that you're doing. And maybe that's one way of keeping it going.
Well, right now you can find me online all over the place, mostly on my website, Jahchild, JAHCHILD.com. or you can find me at Ja Child on Instagram. You can find me Julio Hanson, son of Han, on Facebook. I don't add everybody unless they send me a message and say, "Hey, I saw you on," or "I know you from,"
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people out there, I just
Exactly.
don't add.
You
But
have to be careful these
yeah,
days.
and then I get double ads or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, send me a message. Let me know. I hope people let me know what they think or thought about what we talked about today.
Yes.
Or I love dialogue. I would love to get together with people and have some type of dialogue, a respectful dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
about what's going on in our world. So you can find me on any of those platforms right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Julio.
Thank you.
This was such a rich conversation. I'm thankful it happened. I look forward to more of it.
Yes.
And I hope our audience had an opportunity to grab on to certain things and run with them for reflection.
Well, if I
You
can just
know?
give a quick shout out, my
Yes.
family, just my family, my mom, Yolanda, my brothers,
Mm,
Johnny, Jacinto. Johnny is a longshoreman. Jacinto is a creative in his own way. Javier's works for the government as well in security for the government, and also Joselio, who was a NFL football player. So I have a
beautiful.
wide variety of brothers that do amazing things, and my two daughters, of course, and their mom, Maribel, and the whole family that's out there in New York and DC and Maryland and Inglewood. That's
Yes.
where we rep right here. So I just want to tell everybody that I love them all, and thank you for inviting me to this.
Oh,
This
you're so
was
welcome.
amazing.
You're
Thank
so
you.
welcome. Here's the connection,
Yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
All right. Well, may we all continue to transform the world through reflections.